I'm just curious as to why you guys felt it was necessary to enshrine in the legislation the fact that public office holders aren't responsible for confirming whether or not someone is lobbying and registered.
I wanted the law to be clear, and I also wanted to make sure that a situation didn't develop where public office holders, ministers, MLAs, weren't saying to people, oh, I can't meet with you or talk to you until such time as I have gone through an elaborate verification process. Democracy is about, open democracy is about exchanges between people and politicians. And whilst we want to make sure that lobbyists, those who are engaged full-time in this activity, are registered so the public knows who they are, I don't want a situation to develop where someone comes in from a constituency, wants to talk to their MLA or wants to talk to a minister, and suddenly is confronted by a questionnaire about whether or not they're even entitled to do that. No other jurisdiction has imposed an obligation on the part of public office holders to verify compliance. I wanted our law to be clear that the obligation falls to the person who is the lobbyist to comply with the Lobbyist Registration Act.
But a cynic might say that because you're putting this in the Act, if a question arises about, say, a provincial liberal, prominent provincial liberal, lobbying the government, and then the opposition says, well, why didn't you check to see whether or not he was registered, right? Then you guys can just say, well, look, we don't have to do that because it's not in the law.
Well, the circumstances under which people speak and meet with politicians is varied. And we think about the boardroom situation or the office, but you can run into someone in very casual circumstances back home at the grocery store. Do we really want a situation where a publicly elected official is saying to someone, I'm sorry, I can't speak with you until I've rushed back to my office and conducted a search to make sure you're not a lobbyist, or if you are, that you're properly registered? I'm speaking to you now. I assume you're a qualified professional journalist, properly credentialed.
That's a big assumption.
A leap, to be sure. And yet, to whatever extent you're required to abide by the obligation to be, I assume you've done that, and I take that at face value. The obligation here for those who are professional lobbyists is to comply with the Act, and I think that's as it should be.